get started?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. So, ZoomCast, episode 11. I got my man Carey Miller, head coach, Hoover High School, coming off a CIF Championship. Hopefully, going into this will be year two. Hopefully, we can have this year two season. So, welcome aboard. Glad to have you. And I always like to start the interviews the same way, just like get a background. So, kind of, where did your basketball journey start for you?
Man, basketball started for me, and really started in the backyard of my neighbor's backyard. His grandfather put a hoop up. Probably it was eight years old, maybe 8. And
you grew up in LA, right?
Went out there. Yeah, grew up in South Central LA. He just had a hoop up, man. We used to just go back there as 8 years old and pretend like we was Magic and Jordan, So that's how we used to get down back there and just play around. And then got involved with the Crenshaw YMCA. And a guy named Angelo Jackson talked my auntie and play basketball. She was real protective. I started with that and went on from high school to Fairfax High School to LA High School. Ended up at LA City College. From LA City College, I went to LA Trade Tech, and I went on to West Virginia Tech University.
So when you first started, did you play any other sports? Did you play any other sports, or was it just all basketball?
It was just strictly basketball. I mean, I knew how to play other sports, but my love was just basketball. That's what I loved. Like, I knew how to play everything else, but I just concentrated solely on basketball.
So when you were in high school, what were the hoop dreams like in high school? You played in college, you went to a JC, but was it something that you knew that this was something that you wanted to try to make a life out of, make a career? You had big aspirations?
Honestly, no. Like, at first in high school, I was terrified my first day of high school because played for Harvey Katani at Fairfax, and I never, like, the little AAU ball I played, they didn't teach us anything. They just taught us to roll the balls out and go play. It was a lot different then than it is right now. You just would practice maybe twice out the week, and get around a bunch of guys you never seen before, and you just playing. But I didn't even know really what a defensive stance was, man. So I'm getting yelled at, and different era back when we was growing up, man. You can actually get cussed at,
Put hands on you.
Yeah, gym doors was closed, and man, I mean, at Fairfax, you had names like Chris Mills, on the wall, like, and that was like a real program. So just stepping into that, playing with the likes of, Joe Shipp. It was a guy, Joe Shipp,
with the Cal.
Mm-hmm. Chris Osborne, who played at Arizona State. Yeah, Stanley Thorne, Ivan Gardner. Had some really good guys that, they just came off of playing Shea Cotton in Mater Dei the year before in the I think in the state regionals or something like that. So it was crazy, man, to be honest with you. Like, because back then you used to be scared of your coach, man. You used to be scared of your coach. And I just learned a lot. And I didn't know until actually really, like, when you start loving it, like, man, I want to go to college. You watch it on college, and man, I want to do this. I want to be seen on TV one day. So probably got really serious about it probably around my junior year. Got really serious about it. And I had some good teammates that made you think, like, yo, man, you can get a free education with this game.
So I'm guessing, being at a level of that program, your games are hype. You got, all kind of college recruiters at the game. So was there interest? Did you start to see a reality? When did you start to see the reality of you being able to possibly play at the next level?
Just, first is junior college coaches come up to you. They talk to you. And when your high school coach is telling you, when I left Fairfax and went to LA High, it was crazy because the stereotype was everybody at LA High is going to go to a junior college. We had the gym full of junior college coaches, man, because we had Reggie Morris at Southwest. We had Coach Sands from West LA. We even had guys coming from Dixie. It used to be Dixie College, which is now I think it's Dixie State University.
Yeah.
You had some top programs in our gym. And what helped is, you get to play against guys like Tony Bland, Westchester High School, playing against Fairfax High School. So that helped a lot. But the interest really came is when you really see like coaches coming in the gym and watching practice, and then you see them like coming into the games. And so I remember when I want to say we saw Steve Lavin walked in our gym. He
was at UCLA at the time.
Yeah, UCLA. He came to watch my friend Popeye and Tony go at it. So that's when you realize, this is for real right here.
How did the decision come for you to end up at LA City?
Well, Mike Miller was in my ear, telling me that would be a good spot for me. He was telling me about guys that move on from his program. Like I want to say he had over 35 guys go Division I. But I really, like, when I was going into it, like I said, you go from Fairfax to being coached, really, and then you have a high school coach that just really lets you go out and play when we got to LA High. So, like, just the structure, like when Mike Miller was telling me about, I didn't really understand it till I got there, So that was like playing at an actual Division I college, the way how his setup and individual workouts and, it was, all this stuff was new to me, but it was definitely fun.
It's really, I'm glad you brought that up. It's probably going to look like I set this up because, I talked to Coach Marshall at Palomar last week, and the kind of things that we talked about is just the misconception of the level of play at a junior college level. Now, it's not going to be at every junior college, but it seems like your experience was that it was very high level basketball. And again, a lot of people don't necessarily know that to be the case at junior colleges.
Very true. Like Mike Miller used to tell us, like, we played, I don't know if I went to school with Randy Holcomb, who went to San Diego State, wound up playing in the NBA. We had a couple other guys. So it was very competitive. It's for, I think what some parents don't understand, when you try to push their kid to a junior college is preparing them. Like year one, it's like you're really at that 4-year school, like with the classes and, getting used to campus and stuff like that, because a lot of parents, I think, don't realize, like, not every kid is going to go Division I. They don't realize it's Division II, Division III, NAIA. But what a lot of parents don't realize is a lot of those kids fall from Division I. They're playing the NAIAs and Division II. So Division, and you got to think, JUCO, you have, how many D1 transfers do you have come down? You know what I'm saying? You have a ton of them, especially in California, which, with the rules were a little different. I know back in 1999, where you could have, kids from New York come into California who didn't graduate from high school and they're still allowed to play. When you can't do like that in the national JUCO, you have to graduate from high school, just stuff like that. But I just think, I wish it was a way like more coaches like Coach Marshall could explain to parents so they can understand, what JUCO is all about. Because I've sent Coach Marshall a player and she did great things with her. She did great things with Nia.
Oh yeah, very familiar with Nia. Big fan of hers still. So you do 2 years at LA City?
Yeah.
So walk me through. Go ahead.
I did 1 year at LA City, and just being honest, I wasn't prepared for a coach like Coach Miller. You know what I'm saying? And it was tough, and that's why I try to teach the kids that I coach. Like, I made a lot of mistakes, man. I made a lot of mistakes. And it's crazy when you have a coach that comes in and actually coaches you, and you kind of go against it. I'm pretty sure you had kids where you try to coach them and they go against it. So I wound up going to another situation, which I thought was better in Trey Tech. And honestly, it wasn't, like it was another one of those situations where, I got all these guys that could have been Division I guys playing for me, but so I'm not really coaching them. I'm just letting them play, So did a year at City, and it was tough, man. Like I told you, competitive, and I just think it was one of them situations. I think me and you talked about it before, how you can't rush to transfer because the situation isn't good for you that moment. I didn't know that I'm playing behind a guy that was drafted in the NBA, like in Randy. So I wasn't told like, yo, just wait your turn, or maybe even red shirt, So red shirt, and what I think some kids don't understand, red shirt is not a bad option, especially when you're at a high caliber school.
I had a conversation with one of my players that's at a D1 now, and she was saying that they're talking about redshirting her, and I said that's probably the best thing for you. Get yourself right, get acclimated, get work. Especially with this year being as crazy as it is, you don't know. I mean, you could not redshirt and the season get canceled. So many programs been having their seasons getting canceled. So, if you can get that extra year of education and get your body stronger. I don't know that enough people, kids, parents, players, really understand how that red shirt is not necessarily a negative thing and can be used positive. I know Palomar, I talking with Coach Marshall, they use it well, and people, they're ready to go, and they use that year. And like she says, their red shirts they do everything but playing games. So it's just an opportunity for you just to hone those skills. So what's the next step? How do you end up in West Virginia?
Man, so I completed my second year at Trade Tech. And my coach was like, man, you have a couple offers. So first it was a school like St. Martin's up in Washington. I was ready to commit. The coach became the athletic director. So another coach came in. I talked to that coach. Didn't really like the style that he was talking about. He was a first-time head coach also. So then I had Central Arkansas. I had a school named Lowell, Bowie State, and Shaw. But really the ultimate thing was my best friend, Popeye, he left South Florida to go to West Virginia Tech. And so we had a mutual friend that was coaching at West Virginia named Romeo. And Romeo got me on the phone. Sounded interesting. I played with my best friend in high school, and we did some great things. So I was like, West Virginia, though, back then, like, you have too much to know about West Virginia. You just, I think, you only knew about the Mountaineers. So all you know.
Well, you ain't too far from D.C., though. That's not too bad. You could get there in a day or so.
When I tell you about Montgomery, West Virginia, the whole that is Montgomery, oh man. But I'm packing my bags because I told the guy I was gonna be there, and I told Coach Williams I was coming. But a guy, Happy Osborne from Georgetown, Kentucky, and this is me like not knowing about. When people hear NAI, they think it's bad, not knowing that Happy Osborne is calling me, trying to talk me out of going to West Virginia to go to Georgetown, Kentucky, which I didn't know it was a private school. I didn't know that they just came off playing in the national championship. And in the exhibition game, he told me they beat number one Pitt. Pitt was number one that year, and they NAIA team beat Pitt in the exhibition game. I think I remember that. So
yeah, I think I remember that.
Yeah, and I just thought about it. I told him I appreciate it, but I just really, I wanted to play with my boy. And I trusted what Coach Williams and Coach Romeo was telling me. But, we got on the plane. We went out there, man. We got stuck in Columbus. We flew into Columbus. We got stuck out there almost the whole day. We finally got picked up. And I can't even use the language when I saw West Virginia Tech, the area. So,
I can imagine.
It was different. And, but that's how I ended up there. And, man, the first day there, I messed up. Like, I got there super tired. Coach called me to come to his office, man, and I overslept. You know what I'm saying? So I'm running like the second day I'm at, the second day I messed up. So, but yeah, that's how I ended up there, man. Just because my homeboy went there, and I had a lot of fun playing with him. Great point guard, man. Great point guard.
So you did 2 years there?
I did 2. Learned a lot, man. Played, didn't play as much as you wanted to play. Definitely saw, like, in my honest opinion, like, I'll be too honest, I really believe, like, I felt like junior college was harder than Division II. I felt it was more physical. And I just felt like the quality of players, like, we played against, no disrespect to those dudes, but I felt like the people we were playing against in California were way better than what I played against in the West Virginia Conference. I just felt it was tougher and it was better players. Like, I know in JUCO, it was junior college, it was maybe 4 guys that made NBA rosters that we played against. So it was, and in the West Virginia Conference, nobody made it to the league out of there. So it was different. I felt like D2, I remember Mike Miller, when I was at City, said we had a team that could have won the Division II National Championship when I was at City. So definitely, when I got there, I kind of agreed with what he said. I was like, man, D2 is not hard. It was hard, but it wasn't as hard as California JUCO.
And definitely not what you was expecting, right?
Yeah, not what I was. I mean, you in California JUCO, up and down the board, you'll see 6'10", 6'11" guys. I mean, there was some big kids, but they weren't skilled really. They were big. Like, seemed like in Division II, like, you have a lot of really good guards, a lot of guards that transfer down, and just a lot of really good guards, But I just feel in JUCO, you had, like I said, you got guys coming from out of state, coming from big Division I's. Like, I had to play against LA City when I went to Trey Tech. So, like, I'm looking at what I'm playing against, 5 guys that transfer down from Division I. So it's.
Yeah, we talked about that when I talked to Coach Marshall about how, some of the top programs always rely heavily on those bounce backs. A lot of those, that first year of college for some D1s that doesn't work out, whether it's on the court, academically, just not ready. Those are kids that are going to J-State. So you got, like, 3-4-star recruits that are now playing at junior college because for whatever reason that first year didn't work out.
Yeah,
I agree. Let's talk about how you got into coaching. When we talked before, you had mentioned that it was kind of first introduced to you by Coach Williams at your coach at Virginia. So kind of tell me how you got, roped into coaching.
After I came home, went back to LA, and this guy from the West Virginia Wild in the ABA asked me, did I want to play ABA, right? And at the time, I thought it was a joke. I didn't want to. Honestly, I did not want to play no more, man. Bad knees and bad ankles. Like, I was, how you love the game, but you lose the desire to still want to play, And honestly, Coach Williams calls me up, coach, and he was like, hey, man, I think you can be a coach. And I laughed. I'm sitting there laughing on the phone, and I was like, a coach? I'm like, man, I'm not anybody's coach, And he was like, man, you love basketball, and you know a lot about basketball, and you're a student of it, and I just think you should give it a shot. So I thought about it. I called him back, told him I would do it. And I took in, like, a lot of the stuff that I learned from my previous coaches. I always paid attention. And I learned a lot from Coach Williams. And we also had a coach named Coach Jim Fout, who coached Randy Moss and Jason Williams. He was their high school coach. And I used to always just ask him I stayed asking him questions about them, like his coaching experience. Like, Coach Fout really taught me how to coach, because when I took it, our school broke some rules. So I guess our school decided to move down from Division II to NAI. And, with NAI, you can have a JV team. So Coach Williams couldn't find anybody to do it. So he was like, hey, do you want to coach a JV team? And I was like, man, you just throwing it all at me at one time. So with no coaching experience, man, he trusted me with his program to coach his junior varsity team, man. So
and you hadn't been that far removed from playing, right? How long?
I was a few months from playing.
Oh,
like,
wow. Okay.
You talking about like just I didn't know how to conduct a practice. I didn't know how to, I didn't know how to do anything. But Coach Williams and Coach Fout, they would sit there while I would have practice. Like in Hassine, we used to have to practice at 5 a.m. because you had other schools that had to use a gym. So, I'm finishing up school because they made a special exception. I'm finishing up school and I'm coaching guys that are 3 years, 4 years younger than me.
Yeah, that's something Coach Marshall mentioned. When she first got into coaching, it was the same situation where she was, fresh out of playing and kind of coaching her peers. So it's like you had a similar experience. How do you think that? How did you handle that challenge of coaching kids or players that were, pretty much your peers?
Well, I think like when you can still play a little, so when you play 5-on-5, they'll be like, "Dang, man, he all right," So, and I think a respect factor is gained there. Like, they pick, they like, "Hey, we got Coach Cuz." I don't know where that ever came from, but they used to be like, "Man, we got Big Cuz, Coach Cuz," and the respect factor just came in. I think just playing 5-on-5, and hey, he know what he's talking about. Because I always feel like if a player believes in you and they see like results out of you, and they, the main thing is what you're talking about. Basically, oh man, the players are gonna ride with you. They're gonna ride.
Definitely, with you. Totally agree. So other than Coach Fouts and Coach Williams and Mike Miller, what other coaches have kind of had a influence on your style as a coach through the years, or anybody you kind of lean back on, things you might have learned or some teachings that you've stolen, or principles from your earlier coaches you may have had or been around?
All right, first Jerry Tartanian. I think everybody's a Tart fan. Tart, coolest dude, man. I had to go talk. I love Calvin Sampson at Houston. That's my guy. Even though I wasn't a Duke fan, because the Fab Five and UNLV thing, man, you gotta love Coach K. You can't say coaching without Coach K. And I'm a big student now. I watch YouTube games and the old games. Like I even go back and watch games from like 19 in the 80s, and I loved like John Thompson. I loved how he was able to relate. A couple of my friends tease me and say when they see me on the sideline with these little small girls standing there, it's kind of like, like, man, your big old self and these girls, they look up to you and they trust you, So John Thompson also big time, and I love Dean Smith because Dean Smith coached great players, and you would see how those players would Dean Smith was able, if I could say, hold them back a little bit, to play a team concept basketball game. Then you see when these guys get to the NBA, they flourish, man. So those were the guys that really influenced like my coaching style.
So let's fast forward. How do you find yourself in San Diego? I know you when I got here, I met you through the club stuff, but how did you find yourself here at San Diego coaching, just in general, high school, club, or whatever?
I found out I was going to have a baby. I found out I was going to have my first daughter, Brianna. So, put it out there. I never really had like that father. So, I came out here to do the right thing, be a father, and I don't remember the whole story. I don't even remember how I got to OLP. I remember somebody made a phone call for me, and I had Melinda Blade call me, and with the OLP, man, what was supposed to be a 15-minute meeting turned into an hour and 15 minutes. And we were just in there talking about life, and Dr. Blade, super cool woman. Like, she's a legend out here. I want to say that she was the first women's basketball coach at USD, I want to say. But super cool. And out of all places, you man, I'm at an all-girls Catholic school, and I'm just coming off from coaching college men, and I'm applying. So I didn't know what I was stepping into because I never watched a girls' freshman game. So I started off as a freshman basketball coach when I came out here. And I remember I told the girls to do layups. And I'm sitting on the little stage behind right off the side. And the girl goes to shoot a layup, and the ball ricochets off the backboard and almost hits me. And I'm like, whoa. And it was different, man. But you know what? I think it made me better as a coach because, when you come from dealing with athletes to dealing with girls who don't know how to play at all, and you have to teach them fundamentals, which I think is something that is seriously lack of teaching in today's game. Man, it made me such a better coach, man. It made me such a better coach.
Yeah, I don't think you could go probably from a different situation from coaching, at a college level, regardless whether it was, JV, like you said, to coaching freshman girls. I mean, you talk about a tremendous difference in talent level and understanding of the game. I'm sure, like you said, that experience had to, your experience of coaching at that level was beneficial. How did you get through that first year of coaching freshmen, not knowing really what you were getting into?
I just made it fun because I had to understand, like, you can't put too much on these young 14-year-old girls who never played. And because, a lot of girls, if they don't like you, they're going to quit straight up. They're going to quit. So I just made it fun. I just had a different style with them, and I think that style kind of stuck with them. I would just teach them. I would try to mix in basketball with life lessons, and then I still have some of the players that are on Facebook, they're grown women now, and they just, man, coach, just in that year, you taught me so much that, I didn't really realize it until a certain situation happened, and they think about it like, man, Coach Miller told me about that when I was a 14-year-old. So that means a lot to hear something like that you can make an impact on something just off something you say or just something that you're teaching.
Everything that you say or do or your actions is being watched. And I think for me, I tell people all the time, that's the part of it that I appreciate the most, is just knowing that, you're more than just the coach. That you have such an influence on everything they can do, and if you really do a good job of cultivating that relationship and molding them, the sky's the limit on the impact you can have on these young ladies. So and I'm right there with you.
I think also thing is too, like, just to be blunt, I think when I stepped on the OLP campus, I don't think OLP ever seen anything like, if you get what I'm saying, like Coach Miller. You know what I'm saying? So I understand, like, I was probably the first there to be a coach there, as an African-American male. I think I was the first and only Black coach they ever hired. So it was definitely different, but like I said, I think I adapt well, and man, I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun that first year, a lot of fun. And, when you have so much fun with those girls that they want to move up to the next level, but they were like, man, we want you to be our coach. We don't want anybody else to coach us. So, I had a lot of fun, man. That was a lot of fun, man.
My first ever high school coaching I coached freshmen too. And I know the feeling. It's like, they want to keep playing. It's good when you get those kids that have never played before, then they play and they want to play more and they love it. It's okay, I want to try out for JV. But then, like you said, they want you to be on the JV team with him. It's like, I can't go with you. You got to go on your own. How many years did you were you an assistant there before you eventually got the head coaching job?
Man, I grinded it out, man. I want to say I did 3 years. I coached 3 years freshman. I think I did 2 years. Did 2 years JV, I want to say, and the job they applied for and the crazy thing is when they moved on from the other two coaches, I applied for the job and I didn't get it, man, because I was told that I didn't have the coaching experience. And I was like, wow, and the guy that they brought in, you know how I seen when they bring somebody, you like, man, what does this guy have that I don't have,
Mm-hmm.
And I stuck around. They asked me to stick around, paid me a little more money, to stay around. And, it didn't work out for that coach. And I guess everybody was calling, like, remember I used to tell you, they wanted me to be the coach 2 years after I was there, after the first coach that got let go. And, when I finally got it, I want to say in 2016. So I was there 6 years before I actually got the chance to take it over. I was there.
So you were heavily invested in the program. You groomed a lot of JV kids to be on that varsity program. So you put a lot of stock into that program.
Yeah, I did. And what's crazy is I didn't get to coach not one JV player that I coached on the varsity side. I want to say it was one that was ready to play when I took over. So yeah, as a JV coach, man, out here you have games. I used to always ask the coach to put us in the most competitive games. So you wanted to play the Northern County teams more than the South Bay teams, because Northern County teams had really good JV teams. So I want to say both years I was JV coach 3 years. All 3 years I coached JV, man, we won over 20 games. So, and most of our schedule was the Northern County teams and tournaments and stuff like that. So it was pretty cool.
When you do finally get the call to be the head coach, what was it? What you expected, or how did that first year as the head coach go?
I didn't know how to schedule, so I'm playing guys like Marlon, playing Bishops. I'm playing Robbie. That was my first game. Robbie and I had we played Brawley, and my first real test as a coach came against Robbie, just to see where I was at and see where my girls was at. We played okay. That was a Mount Miguel team that went to CIF that year. And we were in there, but you know how you wave the white flag. We were down like 50. We were down like 10 or 15 most of the game. But it was tough. I didn't really understand the scheduling, like when I took over, I'm just like, man, I want to play my boys out here, so I can talk trash, go back and forth. But also the one thing that I learned was if you schedule too easy, your kids aren't going to be prepared for, the playoffs. You can't cupcake through a playoff. So that's why I played Tristan at Bonita, Marlon at Bishops, Robbie, Lonnie at Mira Mesa. Like, we played all them guys, and we played them tough, and I think they gained a respect for me as a coach. Like, just to know, like, I didn't really have – I had to work with what I had. I couldn't – LLP, they weren't allowing transfer. They weren't really – if I can say, they didn't really care about – like basketball. Like, if you're doing well, like with most schools, if you're doing well, hey, we're behind you. If you're doing bad, hey, figure it out. So my first year, I really scheduling. We made the playoffs. And, it was an experience. We should have won at El Camino. Just, free throws, man. Free throws. Like, you got to make I'm a big believer, and I went through it this past year at Hoover. Free throws. You got to make free throws. You have to. So that was my first year. It was fun, but I learned a lot.
So I don't want to get in any details that you don't want to get into, but we know how you end up having to leave OLP. Just give me your thoughts on, having to walk away from a situation. Like I said, you had put so much time and effort into building that program from the ground up, talk about with coaching freshmen. So how difficult was it to have to move on there?
It was difficult. It was hard hearing about girls when I announced it on our little group chat on GroupMe. I announced I was leaving. And I'm hearing girls walking out of class crying and stuff like that. And I didn't realize the effect I had on them, you know, and I didn't realize how much love they have for me until, man, I'm walking out, I'm getting parents' emails. What's going on? Like, why are you leaving us? And I just learned that you can be somewhere for so long, man, and it's no loyalty to you. You know, it's no loyalty. The person that makes decisions, you know, that person didn't hire me, you know, so when they have a plan, like they want to go a different direction, and I can just probably say like something that wasn't my fault, you know, like the reason of me leaving. But I just never understood how when you do something wrong, when you do nothing wrong, and the school doesn't have your back, you know. And like I said, I'll be honest, it was a confrontation with another employee, and you know, I did nothing wrong, you know, and I just let's just say I had to defend myself, and you know, they didn't show me any type of loyalty, you know, and you know, I just felt like what I did afterwards, you know, I got what's the word, everything I won at the end. You can just say I won at the end. You can say I won. So
I would agree.
Yeah,
So,
I definitely
so let's say OLP's loss ends up being Hoover's game. So tell me how you end up at Hoover.
Man, so I missed like a little month. I got a call about the Mirror. You're familiar with Mirror Mason, coach. I got a call to coach the boys. So did the interview process. Man, I felt like I had been away from boys basketball coaching men for so long, you know, but it was nothing different. But I saw, like, honestly, coach, I seen like, man, the fundamentals, all these dudes do is come down, dribble, and everything is a three. Everything, either it's a three or it's a layup. So I used to tell dudes, where's your in-between game? You know, blah, blah, blah. So I just, like, the real thing for me was living all the way in Chula Vista was the commute. And so I had to call. It was hard for me to call the athletic director, Ron, and, you know, I let Lonnie know, because I really wanted to, you know, step in there and do that. But I just couldn't do the commute. So it's a guy, Marvin. You know Marvin Qualls.
Yes, sir.
Mission Hills guy. He called
number
me
one
and
fan.
Said,
number one Mission Hills fan.
Number one. And he called me and he was like, hey, Hoover like needs a coach. So he put me in contact with Vanessa. And Vanessa told me, you know, I can come in, I can do whatever I wanted to get this program better. I mean, whatever I wanted, like how get them better, get them in a gym. And I talked to Vanessa I talked to her twice for like 30 minutes before I decided to do it, because I can't even lie. Like, I had people saying, man, why are you going to Hoover? And I knew nothing about the history of that school. I did know that they have some struggles. But I took it. I love a challenge, because I made a comment like, man, if you put me at a public school, and one of these public schools, like I say in the hood, man, I can make them better, man. And so I took it. But what I stepped into, man, I didn't know what I was stepping into, to be honest with you. So again, it's like you got to put on your teaching hat, your mentor hat, and you got to get to work. Because, you know, at a school like that, it's talent there. You just got to coach it. You got to coach them up.
And the dynamics couldn't be any different going from OLP to Hoover, I imagine. I've done the public and the private school thing, so I can understand it's a huge difference.
Yeah, a major difference. It's like, you know how they say one side of the fence is green, the other grass is dead, you know? And it was a big switch. Like, just getting these girls to understand, like, the main thing I heard from these Hoover girls was nobody cares about us. We get a coach here 1 year, the coach is gone. We get another coach. So, building up that trust was, at first they were a little standoffish, very standoffish. I had a girl on one of my first days. Man, she waltzes in. It's probably about 3:15. And I said, man, what you doing? She said, oh, I'm getting ready for practice. I'll be out there in a minute. I told her, like, man, you better practice getting here on time. And I told her, you can go home. And I think that's something you couldn't do at OLP right there. Like, I couldn't just tell a girl, like, get out the gym, but I felt like I had to do something to get these girls to wake up, like it's new around here.
And, growing up in certain environments, you talk about trust. Trust is big. And, you're dealing with kids who are already dealing with trust issues. They, a lot of kids will have had their heart broken or like you said, had coaches that didn't trust them. I think, how would you say your upbringing or, maybe being from a community similar to that helps you relate and adapt to that new situation?
You found out who was real, like you have your coaches, you have a lot of, like, I know guys like you, and you got Lonnie and Marlon, man, a lot of kids won't have rides to get to where they need to go. And, like, that stuff is big. And some parents don't have a car, so I know growing up, like, it was, like I said, Angelo Jackson got me in the YMCA thing, but my auntie was a tough sell. She was a tough sell, man. Like, she didn't want you doing too much. Like, she wanted you raking leaves and picking up dog stuff.
Stay in that front yard, right?
Get at home with her. Yeah. So, like, it's a trust thing. Like, I think when you're a little kid, you know who to trust, and you can get you get a feeling of who's real, because, you got a lot of coaches that use these kids up, man. And especially for personal gain, if they feel like, oh man, this kid has a shot, man. And because, one thing I hate hearing is, that's my player. How player makes it, that's my player. And I hear it so much, man. I hear it, like, when somebody's successful, I always hear about, oh, she was working out with me when she was 6 years old until she was 8.
But those same guys don't claim those kids that don't make it. That's what always gets me. It's like, well, did you ever coach a kid that didn't make it? That's always the question I want to ask.
Exactly. And, out here, I can say, since I've been out here, the biggest name that people try to attack, put themselves to, is Destiny. And people,
she's on my TV right now.
It's right here. And people don't understand, like, I was there when Destiny, I was there. So when I hear these people saying, oh, Destiny's my girl, I know what's really the Destiny story. So I just look at these coaches. When did you coach her? I coached her in 4th grade. Well, she was definitely not that player that she is now because of what you taught her in 4th grade. Like, so so it's just the trust. Like, to get back what you said, it's the trust. My thing was, the coaches that will come pick you up and put the extra work in, like, the training and stuff isn't what it was back then, what you see now, all the training. I put on Facebook, and I got a couple messages, because I think a couple people got a little sensitive. I put a video of a kid doing a V cut, making the kid fall. And I said, coaches don't teach that anymore. You have a lot of coaches that don't teach players how to get open, but they teach them how to dribble through a million cones. Cones don't have hands. Cones don't play defense. So, a couple coaches was like, well, I do teach that. I'm like, man, I wasn't talking to you. I didn't tag you. I wasn't talking about you. I'm just saying the stuff I've seen. I played teams this year I've seen where girls, once they didn't even L cut out. They'll just pop out, couldn't get the ball. They had no idea how to get open. They didn't know how to backdoor. It was a lot of stuff. So, as a coach in high school, you can, when you spot a weakness out, because I always tell my girls, take away the first pass. Because most of the time when you come down, the ball is going to, if the ball handler isn't the best guard, that wing is the best player, take her away. And let's see what else they can do on the left side of the floor. Let's see if they can run their stuff on the left side of the floor. So just little stuff, but just teaching and having the kids trust is a big thing. Big thing.
What lessons you talked about, how scheduling, and the things of your first year as the head coach of the OLP. What lessons did you take from that to when you're starting to, build your new program at Hoover?
I learned that don't play Marlin.
Good one.
No, I just learned.
But you scheduled tough though. You scheduled tough, so don't act like you had cupcakes.
I did. But I thought about a couple Division I schools, but you kind of want to. I went at the top Division II schools, and we were very successful. I just learned that just schedule the right way. Know your team strengths, but also you got to put a game in there where they can learn. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't care about going 28 now. I don't care about that. Like I care about finding a way to get them better. And I felt like I just felt like we had a really good summer. During the summer we beat some good teams, man. We beat some really good teams, and we beat some teams without probably my two best players. And we just the scheduling aspect was, just don't schedule 8 top 10 teams in San Diego. I think that's what I learned the most, because that's what I did at OLP. I forgot all about my league, that I had to go coach against Jackie. Then I had to deal with.
I was going to say the league was tough. Yes, the league was really tough.
Yeah, you turn around, you got to play Sarah. Then you got to turn around, you got to play Scripps, and I think like that Western League, people don't know. Like that
Monster.
is tough, man. It's like the Western Conference. You got to think Lincoln was really good at the time when I was at OLP. Everybody in our league was good. And so
no nights off.
You scratching and clawing. Yeah, scratching and clawing. So I kind of forgot about that when I scheduled, because, I'm calling Tristan, like, yo, man, got to play Tristan. And, I'm calling just different coaches. And, I could have scheduled some easier games, but I think the year after I left, they had a really good year. And I think that was a lot of, from their scheduling the 2 years before, we played some really good teams, man, some really good teams. So, players, they grow, just those type of games.
That was definitely my biggest mistake last year, on my first year is, playing in the Western League, where we had 2 open division teams, the CIF Division I champion, 3 open division teams and the CIF champion. And then, for Division I, and then I'm scheduling Mission Hills, I'm scheduling Bonita Vista. So I'm getting my butt beat in non-league and then preparing to get my butt beat in league. So I'm right there with you. So I want to talk about this season. It's your first year, but when did you realize that this team had to, I talked to you during the season. I know you were confident in your group. At what point did you really feel like you guys had a chance to win it all?
And, well, coming into the season, I told them, I knew we were good enough to win Division V, because I saw a lot of the teams that we played during the summer. And I want to say I was confident from the jump. I knew how hard this team worked. Man, they worked. Man, when I tell you they worked. And I remember the biggest thing was when I took over, Vanessa said, your hardest thing is going to be getting them girls in the gym, because they don't show up during the summer. They don't show up. And so I just told them, you don't show up.
But did they have a reason to show up?
Oh, they knew. Because I told them, I said, it's going to be different. I said, we're going to have fun. I said, the main thing I seen that I tell them, I said, we're going to have fun. You know what I'm saying? I said, games are fun. You know what I'm saying? And practice can be fun. It's all on how hard you want to work, and but I tell them, basketball is fun. It is fun. It is fun to learn new things, because you ever notice you teach a girl something, she going out there and she trying to do it after practice, she's standing there working on it, and that just brings a smile to your face as a coach, because like I said, it tells you that they're listening to you. Mm-hmm. So I was very confident. Then when we beat OLP our first game, that was big for me. And I think they really believed, like, you know, because OLP, I told Chris that I felt like he had a really good team, man. They had a really good team, scrappy team, and we were missing a player and beat them. I think they were missing one too, but the fact that we can go in there on the road and beat them was pretty, and we played terrible and we still got the win. So that's after that OLP game, that's when I knew. I said, okay, we're in the driver's seat.
And talking to you, I know you were real active in trying to map out who you were going to see, and like how big does scheduling play into your team's preparation or their preparedness to make that run once the playoffs started?
I think it was big because, you know, you're not going to play certain teams in Division 5 in the playoffs. Our goal was to get the number 1 seed. And I just felt like they had to know, like, the regular season was harder than the playoffs. You know, look at the teams you played, but also you had to know that teams want to knock you off. They want to knock you off. And I had a couple coaches tell me, like, oh man, you got it easy. And I tell them, well, girls ain't nothing easy, man, because you don't know how they're going to wake up feeling one day. You don't know. So it wasn't nothing easy. And then there was a couple of girls that got on YouTube that they saw the podcast you had with the one guy, and you had picked Hoover, and they was coming they was coming to the gym like, oh, they was like, the coach of Mira Mason said we about to roll right through the playoffs. Man, they had the hardest week of practice. Like, I'm telling you, I don't care how bad the team is. We will practice so hard. If it's the worst team in San Diego, we're going to practice like we're getting ready for Mission Hills, you know. And they saw that. I guess they saw me. It was no let up. And we went out there and we did our thing. Yeah. Made it hard.
The importance of understanding it ain't about necessarily, you know, what the other teams does in terms of focusing on your execution and focusing on, you know, your game plan. Too often, and I'm guilty of it too, sometimes you get so caught up in trying to take away the other team's this or the other team's that. But if your team doesn't know how to execute what you're trying to do, all the other strategy and game planning for the other team ain't gonna do you no good.
Well, I know you did a piece on Louisa Butler. And man, I can honestly tell you, I was scared when she tore her ACL. I was scared because the next game we played Claremont, and they beat the brakes off us, man. And you could but I think it was more like the girls were sad about Lulu. They were really sad. You're looking, you know what I'm saying? You're looking around, where's Lulu at? And, you know, Lulu is a natural leader, man. Like, I think every coach would love to have a Lulu talking about, you tell Lulu baseline to baseline. She's playing defense. And we lost a lot when she got hurt. We lost a lot. So, you know, as a coach, you make an adjustment, and then everybody's keying on the Maya. But I think the biggest thing that made our team different was I'm a big believer in you play inside out, man. And we had a post player, and, you know, the Maya can go in the post too, and we used to just destroy teams on the block, man. And you know, we like to get out and run, because one coach was like, man, after we played them, he said, I tried to scout y'all, but I don't know what y'all run. I said, I don't run nothing. Like I said, I put them 3 out, 2 in, and they play, and I got a drill. Remember at EBO, we used to do a 10-second shot clock. Mm-hmm. And that was our conditioning. I always make conditioning. I don't make them run suicides. I make them do functional stuff with basketball. Yeah. And I don't think coaches realize 10-second shot clock is that is hard, man. And I think once my girls got in the condition, man, because everybody could play, but, you know, everybody focused on, we have 5 really good players at that level. 5 really good players. So, you know, but losing Lulu hurt. That's why when I read the piece you did on her, man, like, I tell her when I talk to her, I always check on her and see, how's your knee? You know, and it's Lulu. I'm like, I got to check and see if she's doing what she's supposed to be doing. Because she said, Coach, why you always be on me? I said, because you Lulu. Like I always got to check on you. You Lulu, you know. So, but she's doing much better, man, and she'll definitely be ready when we finally get out here. More like I said, next year.
So we talked about a little bit when we first got started. How are you guys, or how are you as a coach handling the uncertainty of what's going on right now in terms of communicating with your kids? You had mentioned that you had had some conversations about the prospects of us playing. How are you handling the stress that is the not knowing if we're going to have a season?
Well, it's hard because I've already had parents tell me that they're not going to let their kids play. So it's tell them to be ready. I think the biggest talk I had was with Namaya. I told her, you got to stay ready because you're a senior, so you might have a Palomar say, we want to come watch you. We want you to come up and watch us play. Because I've definitely told Coach Marshall about her. But, you got to stay ready at all times. You know that. You got to stay ready. And if we do play, it's gonna take a minute, man, to get them right. Because, like I said, I'm one of them coaches. I can honestly say I haven't done anything with them because I've been told you can't do nothing. So my main thing right now is their grades. Like I check on them. The grades, that's what I care about the most. I want to see these girls do something with themselves. Like a lot of them, if you let them slip, they're going to slip. And I stay on them about those grades. I definitely stay on them about that. So I'll just tell them, just stay ready. But I think they kind of sense it that it's not going to happen.
And, I never even thought about this, but I'm sure, for your girls, there's more challenges with the online learning in terms of resources and somebody staying on top of them. And, a lot of these kids, school was a safe haven. School was where they could get food. So is that something that you've been dealing with in terms of, maybe not so much now, but when this first started with kids really struggling with the adjustment of not going to school every day?
Yeah. Like I had Coach Staley, Vanessa hit me and was like, hey, you better get on Talina because he hasn't been logging into class. So, I hit Selena and I say, what's going on? I said, you get to stay at home and go to school. So what's the problem? I said, just roll over, turn on your computer and do what you got to do. And, okay, coach. But I think as kids, they don't understand, like when you get on them. But I think afterwards, it's like, remember, we just touched on it. Man, he cares. He cares enough to hit me up to see, man, are you taking care of your schoolwork? Are you on top of this? Are you on top of that? The sad thing, when I got to Hoover, I told girls about the clearinghouse. I told them that, how to try to prepare for college and stuff like that. They were blind to that stuff, Coach. They didn't know. They didn't. And what's sad about it is the guidance counselors didn't know nothing about it. So, we went to the right resources at the school. And, yeah. So then that's where people say, like, nobody believes that we're ever going to do anything. Like I even had a kid coach tell me, dang, I've never seen a male dressed in khakis and a polo shirt before. And I was like, wow, what? She was like, yeah, I've never seen that before. She said, wow. So I stay on them about it. I definitely stay on them. We laugh and joke in our group chat, but they know I don't play with the grades. I don't play with it. So I tell them that you're no use to me if you can't maintain your grade point average. You're no use to me. I mean, you can be. I've seen some really good players, man, that can't get a 2.0. Me in my personal life growing up, and it's sad. Like, I've seen some guys that can really go and just couldn't get it in class, and I just feel like now it's more. I think it's a little more challenging because when I say it's challenging, these kids get lazy. And, when something's too easy, man, it's not a challenge no more. So they get lazy. And, just that's my way of just staying on top of them with the grades. Just, hey, stay on top. I said, don't believe that nobody can be held back. Don't believe that, man. Go in there and get your grades.
So I want to backtrack a little bit and talk about last year. I want to know because I've been there as assistant coach. So I want you to kind of walk me through, championship day, CIF Championship day. Like, what are your thoughts and your preparation? What are you doing? Who you calling the day of that game?
Man, the day of the game, I didn't talk to anybody, man. I was I saw a couple texts. We got on the bus, man. We treated it like a regular game. We no getting there early, none of that stuff. And, like CIF this year, it seemed like they made new rules, or like they had everything on a timeline, how they did things. So wasn't getting there, even though we were the first game, they weren't letting us in to shoot early. Couldn't do that. So we got to Hoover. We had a little talk. We got on the bus. And I just let them, I'm one of them coaches, I let you do what makes you comfortable. But what was surprising is as we're getting there, as we're getting closer, a lot of the girls cut their phones off, man. And they were focused. It looked like a meditation thing. Like I look back and I just see girls like really focused, and I've never seen them that focused before, ever. And, we started off slow, but, we came back. But just we treated it like a regular game. I told them it is no different. I said it's just a little bit more on the line. Your history, your legacy at this school as a basketball player. Hoover had never won anything on the girls' side before. So I said, be the first to make history. And we just treated it like a normal day, just a normal day. But as you get out there and play, those girls is a little bit different because they know what's on the line.
So clock to zero, buzzer sounds. What's that first feeling? What's that first emotion like when it's real?
Happy for them. Happy for them. Like I really show my emotion. I don't really show it out too much. But my best friend Popeye was at the game. And like we have it on our Instagram page, what they showed on KUSI. And as I run on the court, and I'm like, I'm running on the court. I turn around and I just see somebody flying at me, and I just caught him, and he like I just caught him, and we were both laughing. I was like, man, you jumped, man. What about when I fell? But honestly, like, man, I cried. The reason why I cried was because for these girls, man, because I knew what they put into this, man, and it was a very big deal for the school. Like it was people that I never even met that were at the game. I guess they were alumni, and they were like, we were following you all year, man, awesome year. And I even had the coach, Coach Ale, that used to coach the boys there. He reached out to me and sent me, he said, man, Hoover alumni is so proud, just keep it going. One of the things he's like, please don't leave these girls, like you're doing a good job here. And I don't have no plans to go anywhere, but it was excitement for the girls, man. And, I'm standing there and I'm looking at them, and, I told them that they were going to win. I told them, I said, you guys are going to win CIF if you just do everything right. And, man, like girls crying, hugging, some girls who don't even like each other on the team are embracing each other. It's a family. I always say basketball makes people family, makes them family. The way how they meet is a big family. So it was great, man. It was great. But me thinking like, all right, who we playing state? That's what I was thinking about, man. Who we playing state? But I let them live it up, man. I let them live it up, man. It took us about an hour to go home.
I bet. Man. So how do you transition from that to state? Like talk about, the preparation that week. Again, nothing like it. Are you scrambling to get film? Walk me through the process as you get ready for that state game.
Well, I kind of, how you say that you learn from a previous experience, at OLP when we won CIF, we played El Dorado, and, like just going in, like knew nothing about them. Didn't have any film, and they came out, they were an Oxnard team, I believe, and they were so physical, man, so physical. And, in the state playoffs, it's hard, in San Diego, I feel like it's a lot of touch fouls called, and, but, you go up north, it's totally different. So that's why I always try to send them to a tournament up north so they can see, like how to play. So, I mean, we played okay, man, but remember when I said about free throws? Like, man, we missed 25 free throws, man. We missed 25 free throws and we lost by 4. But the whole just getting ready for it. Now all of a sudden you got the school behind you. ASB is at the game. You know, it's people that you never seen before. You know, it's just different, man. And I just told him, I said it's another game, but now it's like it's gonna be a little more physical. That was the thing that I was afraid of, the physicality. And San Bernardino, they were very physical. I know even you heard it was a fight that broke out during the game. And it was the experience. Like I said, it was the first at Hoover for girls basketball. So I just took into it. We were prepared, but we just couldn't make free throws, man. The free throws killed us.
And what's the mood like? You know, obviously you had a chance to win the game, but what's the mood post game in terms of, you know, you still had a great season, or is it just utter, you know, dejection and sadness?
Well, they were mad, and I think they were mad because, you know, I told them, you know, it's gonna be the end of y'all season. I told them earlier, I said free throws. You know, we have a great free throw drill that we do. That if you miss, is, you know, like you pay the consequences for missing. And I always use the term, they're free. They are free. And I think it wore off after I told them just how proud I am of them. You know, I just always use it. This was the first of many. And I told them, man, you girls laid the foundation and you have nothing to be ashamed of. You know, I said, however many people were out in that gym, they believe that much in y'all, you know, and, you know, people come around when you win, but I mean, you have people that, like myself and Coach Staley, we believed in y'all all year. And we are just proud of y'all. Hoover has never done nothing like this on the girls' side. So you made history. And I think once I said that, you made history, and I'm so proud of you. And Coach Staley said what she had to say. They saw we weren't disappointed in them. You know, you were a little upset. You know, you lose games that you're not supposed to lose. You know, like my biggest thing is girls that can't shoot that bank threes, maybe about 5 of those that game. But I was proud of them. That was a lot of fun.
So, you know, with winning comes expectations. What are your expectations, or what is kind of your vision where you see your program going forward?
Just to get the kids in the area. We want to get all the better kids. I mean, we'll take anybody that wants to learn and get better, and just keep it at the level. You always want to be better than the year before. I mean, it's gonna be harder because, you know, I lose a lot of those players. I'm gonna lose a really good player this year. So, you know, just got to get in a gym. And my thing is not be scared to play anybody during the spring or summer. Hopefully, if they let us play. And, you know, a year off is because a lot of these girls that don't play club, that's a long time, man. And so we're gonna get after it, and, you know, try to get us some spring leagues, and hopefully, like I said, hopefully we can play. And you know, I'll be calling you, like, hey man, get in the gym. You know, my girls were upset that we didn't get to play in the El Cajon MLK thing, like that thing, because we wanted to play a good team, and, you know, we want to. I know you had I forgot her name. You had the big girl Nay. You know, I'm telling 6'5" big girl. You know, I know she's at San Francisco State right now.
Sac State.
Yeah, Sac State, and you know, like they were embracing challenges. Mm-hmm. You know, like, you know, oh man, that girl's 6'5". Remember, we played y'all the year before, and y'all spanked us. And, you know, it was you know, just keep the expectations high by just letting these girls know, let's get better. You know, you moved up the division, and I honestly believe, like, this year we would have won Division 4. I honestly believe that. And because we had this team coming back was, you know, with a spring and a summer, that team was going to be really good, man. And just unfortunately, you know.
there's no better confidence builder than winning too. You know, a lot of confidence comes with that having success. So I don't doubt that. You know, the sky's the limit for him. So you know, I've taken up enough of your time. We're already over an hour. It's always a good sign that you had a good conversation when you don't know how much time that went off the clock. Personally, I want to say, you know, as a brother in this coaching game, I'm proud of you. Nobody really, like you said, nobody thought you guys were going to be able to do what you did. And you know, we're like-minded in terms of understanding it's a greater good, that what we're doing is always, you know, we always talk about it and people say it's bigger than basketball, but obviously, you know, your actions are dictating that it is definitely bigger than basketball, and the impact that you've had on that program in just 1 year is phenomenal. So again, I'm proud of you. I know the sky's the limit for you guys. I'm glad we were able to catch up and chat. Hopefully we could chat again soon. And like I said, I really hope and pray that we can see each other on the court sooner than later and get past all this nonsense.
Yeah, man, I'm with you. You know, I just want to say, man, people, take it serious. What's going on? It's serious out here. And you know, I see a lot of people like with the mask and stuff like that. Wear your mask. Don't be out when you don't have to be out. You know, like, stay inside, because this is real. And at my job at Kaiser, I see it every day. So, you know, like, I can personally tell you, like, you have some people that think it's a joke, and it's not. It's like the more you follow directions, the better off we will be. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody will be. And,
you know,
I had it. My kid had it.
Yeah.
I know, you know, I've been on the phone with a couple coaches I know dealing with it. And like you said, it's real. And we're never going to get past it until, like you said, people take it serious. And unfortunately, you know, you work in a situation where you see it daily. It's sad that more people don't see it enough, so they don't believe how real it is. And I mean, we lost, you know, Sekou Smith, you know, 40. I was talking to Marlon about this the other day, 48 years old, you know, NBA TV analyst, and, you know, just gone. So I don't know how at this point people still can't take it serious. I hope they do, but I'm right there with you, man.
It just, like I said, man, take it serious, man. Wear your mask, wash your hands. You know, like, you know, most importantly, just be aware. Be aware of where you're at. You know what I'm saying? Like, just be aware. Like, can't be see, coach. Man, you don't want to be like that. You know what I'm saying? Nope. You don't want to be in that situation. It's not a good situation. And, you know, so just take care of yourselves and everything will be cool, man.
Well, I definitely appreciate that good word. Like I said, appreciate your time. Proud of you. Congratulations again on an outstanding, amazing season. And I look forward to watching you continue to take that program to the next level. So again, thanks for your time, Big C. I will be in touch. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks for having me, man.